Hi there, Year 4. It's Friday and it's PSE Day. Today we're going to be thinking about parking our worries into a place where they can't fill our brains and keep us worrying about place all night. We're also going to be thinking about the other work that we were learning and the other things we were doing last week, and deciding on a good place to park worries. So let's just have a look. We're thinking about mindfulness and how it helps with a positive attitude, and we're training our brains to relax. Do you remember we started that last time? And finding calm spaces, and also putting worries into a separate place. Do you remember last week I asked you to find time to do what I call your thing, the thing that you liked? Did you try and make some time to do something you enjoy? Playing a game, a jigsaw, or playing a game with your family? Listening to music or playing music? Well, I hope you did. And if you didn't, then try and find time to do that this weekend or during the week next week. Also, did you remember last time we were thinking about being mindful, focusing in on one particular thing, focusing on small details and relying on our senses, our taste, our touch, our sight, our smell, and our hearing. And we were thinking about spending time doing mindfulness doodling. Did you have a go at that? Did you have a go at breathing in and out? I hope so. So, did you also have a go at doing your constant doodle? If you didn't, then try and make sure that you find time to do it. It's really good to relax and it will help you focus in. And while you're focusing in on one thing, you can't be worrying about another. So I'll come back to this at the end. We're using my trusty Unworry book for thinking of ways to help. Today we're really thinking about places for worries and where we can use them. So do you remember right back in September, October, we looked at Ruby. We have this story called Ruby's Worry. Do you remember what Ruby? Just think for a moment what she had. She started off with a tiny little worry, and it grew and it grew and it grew, and actually it became so big it started to interfere with her life. It meant that she couldn't do things like swinging on the swing. She worried about falling off it. She worried about going too high. She was worrying about so many things. And eventually she met somebody, didn't she? And who also had a big worry, and she noticed the worry in somebody else. And when they started talking about it, she started to feel better. Now, what we need to say is that worries are really normal. Pretty much everyone has a worry in their life at some stage. Some of those worries are things that you can't do really anything about, and other worries are worries that you can. There are worries that you can share, and there are worries that actually help us. Let's think of a worry that we have that actually helps us in our life. Well, I'll give you a clue. When you're on next to a road, you're hopefully worried about the cars. So that worry stops you running in front of a car. It makes you wait, watch the cars pass, and then wait for a safe place to cross the road. So there are worries that are inside us that actually help us. They keep us going. There are other worries that kind of give you some energy and they help you do your work. So some worries can help us actually work well and do well. And one thing I would say is a worry is only bad if it stops us from living happily, enjoying ourselves and getting the best out of life. Do you remember with Ruby? The worry got so big, it got in the way of her life. It meant that she couldn't do things that she wanted to do because she had that terrible fear and worry. So talking about worries is a really good start. And actually, I would say that is the first place you should always start. Ruby's worries immediately disappeared once she started sharing them. But actually, sometimes it's also good to divide your worries up and realise what kind of worries are ones that we all have. So there are worries that are shared, and once they are shared, can have a solution. And sometimes writing those worries can really help. Let's look at these. They're worries that I call the what if worries. what if this, that, or the other happens? So what will happen if I fall out with my friend? What if I forget where I put my reading book? What if I can't do my work at home learning and I keep making mistakes? What if I keep making my mum and dad cross? These are all what I call common worries. They're worries that lots of children have. Now, sometimes writing down when you get that worry can make the worry seem less big. It's there on paper. It also helps because then a grown-up can see that worry and can help you solve the problem. Now, the worries I've put here are all worries that we can actually try and solve. What if I fall out with my friend? Well, that could be a really big one, couldn't it? And that worries lots and lots and lots of children. Now, sometimes it's as simple as, well, if you do something wrong or you're cross with your friend, if you say you're sorry, that might make things better. So there are lots of solutions to that worry. What if I forget where I put my reading book? Well, I expect you'll need to ask somebody who can help you find it. And then you might have a new way of thinking about where you store your reading book. You might have a special shelf or a special place. I worry all the time because I'm always losing things and forgetting where I've put them. I've got a problem with my phone. I keep putting it down and then not finding it. And my husband just said to me, why don't you make sure that it's always on vibrate, or it's always on, the sound is always on when you know you're going to need it. And then if you can't find it, you can always phone it. So that's a solution to a worry I have. What about if I keep making mistakes? Well, mistakes are perfectly normal. But if they're the same mistakes, then we need to think if there's a way we can get around them. And what about this one? What if I make my mum or dad cross? That can be a really, really big worry to children. But it depends, doesn't it? Perhaps you need to find out what sort of things make mum or dad cross. That could be leaving a mess in your bedroom. So you could try and not make the mess, okay? And that is something you need to talk to your parents about, but writing it down might help. And actually, it's something that the more you talk about, the more you'll understand. So writing worries down can be really helpful once you've shared them. Also, sometimes people don't always have time to share them. So it could be that writing them down is a way of remembering what they are, because sometimes you can think about a worry and then you get distracted and then there's something bugging you and you can't quite remember. Now, what we're going to do is to think about worries that can be written down and what we can do. And we're looking today at thinking about a place you can put just your worries in, okay? It's a way of helping. So some worries need to be just thrown away, written down, scrunched and thrown away. I've got one here. I'm worried I'll get COVID-19. Now, I know children have told me that, and I'm a bit worried about that. Now, let me just think. Am I following all the rules? Am I social distancing? Am I washing my hands? Am I keeping safe? Am I keeping 2 meters away? If I'm doing all the right things, that's the most I can do to protect myself from getting COVID. So is it any point in worrying and giving myself tummy ache about it? Now, I might still have those worries, but I've written it down and I am going to just scrunch that and throw it away because I know I'm doing everything to keep myself safe and my family safe. So that is a worry. I've written it down there, that's it, and I've scrunched it up and thrown it away. So we're going to think about some worries like that we can put into something called a worry box. Can you see these? I've got some boxes here. Oh, we're going to try and make a worry monster. Can you see? I've got a box here that I found. Okay, it came in the post. I think some chocolates came in it at Christmas, and I've kept that. Or I've got a tissue box here. Now, I can't use this at the moment because look, it's full of tissues. So I'm going to write my name on it on the side. I want to keep this. And when it's empty, I'm going to use this. Okay, so I found a little box that I'm thinking similar to this that I'm going to use. And I'm going to suggest you do the same. Let's just have a little look. So we're going to make a worry box, and I call it a worry monster. So you'll need an empty box, you'll perhaps need an envelope or some things to decorate your box, and that gives you an idea of what you're going to do. Okay, you'll need some tissues, maybe a tissue box, a tub, some pens, a little bit of sellotape, and you're going to make a worry box. Can you see? These are the sort of boxes. If you don't have any boxes in the house, but you're close to finishing a jar, let's say of jam, you can use a jar to make a worry jar instead. And these are the sort of range of boxes you might use. A tissue box is a good one, or a box where a little parcels come in, or a jam jar. And then what you're going to do is making your worry box. You're going to, I'll show you the picture. You're going to cover it and with paper and draw a face on it. I'm just going to show you. I'm going to show you what I've done. Let's have a look at mine. I've made a box, and it's, can you see? It's got a face on it, and I've put teeth. I've made my teeth out of paper. Whoops. And it's still got the inside of the box, but when it's shut, it looks like some teeth. And also, can you see my funny eyes? I'm going to hold up the eyes. So my eyes are on stalks on my box. And this isn't done very well. You will make yours much better than this. I use some flappy paper to make ears and the funny eyes. And that way, my box, I can put my worries inside it. Can you see? And then later I can get them out, lay them all out and have a look at them, or scrunch them up like I did with my COVID worry and throw them away. Or you can look them out and share them and show your grown-ups. So that's a nice fun activity. You can keep that in your bedroom, and actually whenever you've got a worry, especially if your grown-ups are very busy and you want to write it down so you remember to look at it. Lots of children have these worry boxes, and then at bedtime they get them out and share them with their mums and dads, so they're not worrying about them overnight. I like the way my googly eyes. And I wanted to just show you this. It's not as good as I know you'll make yours. I wanted to show that just with a bit of paper. So this is just a box. Can you see? And I've used paper to make the teeth, and I've just used sellotape. You might have coloured paper or better pens than I have. And then this, I just rolled up some paper to make the eyes on stalks, but you can choose how you make yours look. So let's have a look at some that other people have done. Can you see this one is just a red box where there's been covered with card, and they've made their eyes and their nose, and they've made a big hole there to put the worries in. With this one, they've used the teeth and made big eyes. And this one is just jars. They've decorated their jar with a label that says a worry jar. Here are some more to look at. I quite like these. This one is written, got a worry, feed it to the worry monster. And you can actually see with this one that it was once upon a time a tissue box. This one has been covered in paint or paper and all covered the same. And this monster's got arms, legs, eyes, ears and everything. What I like about these, you can really tell that a child has made them. This one has been using a tissue box just like mine. Can you see? And then they've put the fangs in the holes. So, what's really good about the idea of this is that any time you're feeling worried or a bit sad, you can put your worries in there. So, for example, when you're working at home, sometimes you might feel a bit lonely. It's important to write that down so you can share it. Because there's a solution to that. It could be you could have a phone call or a WhatsApp meeting or a Zoom with one of your friends, and that might make you feel better, especially if you're missing your friends. So there we've got a worry, and there let's take this worry, and then we can feed it to the worry monster. Can you see? I think about the news on TV. This is a worry. So one good thing there is perhaps not to watch the TV news, or to divide up the news into things that are on bits of paper that you can throw away and worries that you can do something about. So the monster will eat your worry, and it's better that the worry is inside the monster than inside you. That's what I say. So let's just think about today. Let's think about the activity I want you to do. I'd like you to try and do a constant doodle or a doodle colouring sheet, or try one of these. Can you see this one? We've got rings there and the circles are made, and then you just start with lots and lots of circles and you build them up, and then you can colour them in. Or you could do a colourful one like that. Have a go at doing that. Then I want you to start collecting things to make a worry monster. You might not have everything ready. I'm not expecting you to make a worry monster today. But what you can do, and if you're in school and you're watching this, you can actually start to design what you want your monster to look like. So you could just draw on a piece of paper the sort of monster you're going to have. Think about going back to the video and looking at some other ideas. What colour eyes will it have? Will it have hair or ears for listening? Draw it out on paper and then start to collect all the bits and pieces that you need to make your worry monster. And you can make that over the next week. And then start to think about writing down a worry. So I want you to think about a worry that you have. If you don't have any worries, even better. But if you have got a worry or a sadness that you've got, write it down on a bit of paper and decide, should I share it? Can I throw it away? Or should I share it, then scrunch it and throw it away? And then the last thing I'd like you to do today is try the bell or the breathing activity, taking in some big breaths, okay? On Google Classroom, there aren't any resources for today's lesson specifically. However, I have put on a range of doodles. So for example, there is a copy of that one. If you want to look at it and then copy it. I like that one because you can make that yourself. Can you see the page is completely full of what I call circles and rings, and each of them has got a different pattern inside. Okay, there is a copy of that. There is also a copy of this one, which has got some little words on it to think about. Okay, they're all mindfulness activities, these. And there's a copy of that. There's also a little booklet with different doodles to do. So you don't have to do all of them or any of them. You can completely do your own. That's what's on Google Classroom. But today, I just want you to do a practical activity of drawing out what you'd like your worry monster to be. The whole point of this is for us to think about our worries and thinking about sharing our worries and finding a place to keep them that isn't inside us. And while we're busy doing other things, we won't have those worries. But if they're still a bit like Ruby taking over, then write them down, share them with a grown-up or share them with a friend, and make sure that somebody knows about your worry. There's no goodness will come from having a worry inside you that you haven't shared. Okay? So, enjoy today, have a good weekend, and I'll see you again soon with the next activity. Bye.